Welcome, Ambassador Bolton.
Glad to be with you.
Well, let's dive right in. I want to ask you about all these attacks that the United States has been sustaining. We've been hit more than 90 times in Iraq and Syria. The Houthis keep on firing at our warships, and they're disrupting maritime trade in the Red Sea. What's your take on all of this? What would you have been doing differently were you still in that chair as National Security Advisor?
Well, I think most importantly, this demonstrates beyond any doubt that what's happening here is the coordinated activity of Iran's surrogates in the region. Even the Biden administration now admits it. It's not simply coincidental with the Hamas attack on Israel. I think this is all part of Iran's strategy, the full dimensions of which we don't know, but elements of which are clear. And the fact is, as what you just indicated in terms of commerce through the Red Sea, it's certainly succeeding. And the U.S. has not responded effectively either to the Houthi attacks or to the Iraqi Shia militia attacks. And I think what's happening is the Biden people are deterred by Iran. They're so worried that if they have to take measures against Iran directly, they'll never get back into the 2015 nuclear deal, which would be no great loss. And they'd have to acknowledge that Iran is the central threat to peace and stability in the region as a whole. In Iran's view, the Houthi, Hamas, the Iraqi Shia militia are all expendable. They see these groups attack the U.S. and U.S. allies, Israel in this case, and we respond by not doing anything particularly against the Houthis and by pinprick strikes against positions in Iraq. Iran suffers nothing. It hasn't suffered anything really from the Hamas attack either. And I think that's got to change. Not looking to get into a larger war, but if you want deterrence to work, you have to convince your adversary that they're going to pay a higher price than they can ever hope to get from you. We are doing effectively nothing at this point to deter Iran.
So let's talk about that. I mean, obviously, Iran is behind all of this. You're 100% right. You imposed the maximum pressure campaign on Iran when you were National Security Advisor. The Biden administration has been far more lax about sanctions. Is the key here sanctions, or is it really something else?
Well, I think the Biden administration has all but let the sanctions enforcement aspects disappear here. Very extensive Iranian oil shipments to China over the past couple of years. And I think that's only what we know. Who knows what else is going on? And I think that's all because the Biden administration, again, can acknowledge that the 2015 nuclear deal was a mistake. I think when you're being attacked, when American service members and civilian personnel, both in Iraq and Syria, American naval personnel in the Red Sea, innocent civilian commercial shipping is at risk here, you don't wait for a mass casualty incident, which would require a military response, no doubt about it. These are acts of war right now. I'm not talking about something huge, but there are any number of things that Iran prizes dearly that we could take out. Air defense systems, headquarters of the Quds Force and other Revolutionary Guard facilities. And just to show that we know what's really at stake here, their nuclear aspects of their nuclear weapons program and ballistic missile program should be at risk too. This is not to start a wider war. This is to prevent Iran, American resolve war.
Let me ask you on the question of defense strategy. We know that the Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, is in the region. He's been meeting with the Israelis. Kurilla met with the Israelis too. What kinds of advice do you think that he's dispensing? And what do you think the U.S. strategy is or should be moving forward?
Well, it appears that the uniform American message to Israel right now is tamp things down. Don't do as much as you're doing. Notwithstanding President Biden's initial embrace of Israel, Prime Minister Netanyahu, now what they're saying is you're entitled to self-defense, but only a certain amount. I mean, the idea that you can adjust the tempo of operations or the intensity of operations in the middle of a conflict this complex, I think reveals a naivete that's hard to describe. And let's be clear, what Israel has said its goals here are, which we have endorsed, is to eliminate Hamas. So for both the United States and Israel, particularly for Israel, people have to decide, do you want to win or do you not want to win? And I just advise everybody, but maybe especially the White House, what Winston Churchill said in World War II: without victory, there is no survival. And I think that applies directly to Israel today.